Number one, I'm here for the simple reason to show support for a friend. I think this trial is absolutely ridiculous. I think it's a sham prosecution. And I think that luckily the president's supporters should know that he's actually in great spirits despite the circumstances of this. He should be out on the campaign trail, but of course he's here with this trial. Let me say something about what I've witnessed so far in my couple hours in there. First of all, Michael Cohen is the prosecution's star witness. This guy is a convicted felon who admitted in his testimony that he secretly recorded his former employer, that he only did it once, allegedly, and that this was supposed to help Donald Trump. Does any reasonable, sensible person believe anything that Michael Cohen says? I don't think that they should, and I actually think that his testimony is going to hurt with any reasonable juror, and hopefully we have a few of those. I want to say two other things here very quickly. Number one, the thing that the president is prevented from saying, which is a disgrace, is that every single person involved in this prosecution is practically a Democratic political operative. The judge inside, his daughter is making millions of dollars running against Donald Trump, raising money for Donald Trump's political opponents. The number 3 person in the Department of Justice, Biden's Department of Justice, left to become a local prosecutor to go after Donald Trump. And of course, there's Alvin Bragg, a Soros-funded prosecutor who promised to go after Donald Trump and now is doing exactly that. Now, look, whether you love Donald Trump, whether you like Donald Trump, or whether you're a Democrat or don't care about politics, what's going on inside that courtroom is a threat to American democracy, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot have a country where you get to prosecute your political opponents instead of persuading voters. Joe Biden's entire strategy is to try to distract from inflation at home and war overseas with this sham trial. I just want to live in a reasonable country where we try to persuade voters in our politics. We don't try to throw our political opponents in jail. So this is a disgrace, and I wanted to be here to show some support for my friend. And speaking of my friend, here's Senator Tuberville.
Thank you. Thanks, Senator Vance. Yeah, Auburn fan here. I want to reiterate the same thing. First of all, I'm disappointed in the courtroom. I'm hearing Mr. Trump, he is former President Trump. Give him some respect. I mean, that's what that place is in there. It's no respect. Here's what I'm seeing, too. It is depressing. That courtroom is depressing. This is New York City, the icon of our country, and we got a courtroom that's the most depressing thing I've ever been in. Mental anguish is trying to be pushed on the Republican candidate for the President of the United States this year. That's all this is. He's been here a month. I am disappointed in looking at the supposedly American citizens in that courtroom, that the DA comes in and he acts like it is his Super Bowl. And I guess it is, to be noticed. But that's what's happening in this country. The Republican candidate for President of the United States is going through mental anguish in a courtroom that's very depressing. Very depressing. I'm glad to stand by President Trump. I'm a friend of his. I'm here more as a friend than backing him as candidate as president. I'm sitting there listening to a guy on the stand that they had to get out of house arrest because he lied in another court to testify in this court. He's a convicted felon. I mean, this guy, he's up there giving an acting scene, and all of a sudden he comes out and says, "Oh, I have recorded President Trump on my telephone." This guy worked for President Trump. I mean, how can you be convinced by somebody that is a serial liar? I mean, there should be no reason that anybody should listen to this guy. But at the end of the day, the Democrats are trying to beat President Trump in the jury box because they can't beat him at the ballot box. That's end of story. So I'm from the South. I'm here today to represent and to pay my respects to what President Trump is going through. It's a tough time for him, but you saw what happened this weekend. He's got more support than ever because what they're putting him through in that courtroom. Thank you.
Why do you think it's appropriate to talk about the judge's daughter when the judge is not to talk about it?
Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. I represent Staten Island and Brooklyn here in New York City. I'm also here to support President Trump. The case is called the people of the state of New York versus Donald J. Trump. But the people of the state of New York know that this is a sham trial. The people of America know that it is a sham trial, and it is based on a star witness that is a convicted, disbarred perjurer who lied to Congress multiple times, has admitted to lying before Congress, and has been convicted of lying. What I'll say is the people of the state of New York would wish that Alvin Bragg, the district attorney who brought this case, would focus on the actual crime that is taking place and plaguing our city. All right, we have drug smugglers that are poisoning our children. We have illegal immigrant gang members wreaking havoc in our city. We see career criminals being released over and over again. And we see a district attorney that reduces or drops charges against the criminals who are plaguing New York. And yet here you have a made up charge for something that's not even within his jurisdiction. That the FEC has said that there is no crime, that the DOJ has said there is no crime. And so it's truly outrageous that this is how District Attorney Alvin Bragg is choosing to use New Yorkers' tax dollars, wasting precious courtroom time on this sham trial.
I'm Iowa Attorney General Brenna Bird, and I came all the way from Iowa to show our strong support that we have for President Trump. He won our caucuses, the first in the nation caucuses, by more than any other candidate ever has. And he will do a great job. We need him back as our president, leading our country again. My background is as a prosecutor, and what I saw in that courtroom today is a travesty. Politics has no place in a court of law. Politics should be out on the campaign trail. But instead, because of these charges that are a scam and a sham, our President Trump, is tied up in court when he should be out on the campaign trail. And I worry for the future of our country if this is the direction that campaigns are going to take, when Biden knows that he cannot defeat President Trump. So instead, they try to charge him with all of these ridiculous things that include a star witness who's a perjurer, disbarred, convicted of lying. It tells us the state we are in this country right now when that's what's happening. What we need to do is get politics out of the courtroom and let President Trump get back on the campaign trail. Let the American people decide who the next leader of the free world will be. And politics has absolutely no place in this courtroom or any other. Thank you.
I'm Steve Marshall, the Attorney General for Alabama. 30 years I have been a prosecutor and cared desperately about what goes on in our criminal justice system, and I have never seen in my career a greater perversion of the criminal justice system than I witnessed this morning. We had more questions about Michael Cohen's feelings than we did connecting him to any criminal offense. When I was a district attorney, I had the privilege of being able to work with Vance. I know that his team reviewed these facts and rejected any effort to use the resources of this city to pursue a sham prosecution. We've seen federal authorities who are directed to investigate matters relating to our elections that have chosen not to pursue criminal charges relating to these same facts. A Department of Justice who has been weaponized by this administration, who also have refused to pursue charges, but yet we want a perjurer to get on that stand today to try to somehow convince that jury that Donald Trump has committed a criminal offense. There is no basis for this crime. This is simply an effort to keep Donald Trump in New York City so he can't go out and speak to the people of this country about why he should be reelected as president. I've seen nothing here that has demonstrated what I didn't know when I walked in, and that is this is not an effective use of the resources of this city. I sat in that courtroom wondering what victims are waiting to be able to get justice for their families, to take violent offenders off these streets. They can't do it because the resources are being spent on something that's not worthwhile. We're privileged to be here, grateful to be here with my senior senator to show support for a man that needs to be back on the campaign trail speaking to the people of this country.
So just one final thought, ladies and gentlemen, to all the American voters and American people who are watching this, the one opportunity you get to speak up against this sham prosecution and to say the American people elect their president, not corrupt DNC prosecutors, is to vote for Donald Trump in November. Thank you all. God bless you.